China are one of the few regions that have an incredible amount of flexibility to the position 5 role. And it's going to be interesting to see if this is actually going to be a Red Panda brew or not, because we've seen Lenham on Team Asta. He can play some wonky heroes, like they really invented the Omni, the Abaddon 5. So this is either just showing early on that the Doom's going to go mid and brew will be in the off lane, or potentially it's a Red Panda brew.
I had no idea that RNG had that much flexibility. And I guess that's something you want when you are, facing them and kind of playing your first official match for first time in a few months. But Tusk coming out on LBZS, Aries, any surprises with that one?
I'm actually a really big fan of this Tusk. It gives you a lot of kill threat in the lane. Like taking a look at RNG at the moment, the Doom early levels doesn't offer you as much in the lane. Like you really you want to get level 4, maybe 5. Once you get a couple more points Scorched Earth, you can really have an impact. Brew, not the strongest laner as well. So we could see LBZS take over this laning stage with their picks early, but I'm excited for a D-Stones Invoker.
Yes, speaking of that Invoker pick, GoDz, what does it add to the RNG lineup right now?
It puts D-Stones on his signature hero. It's like, when I think of this guy, it's just Invoker. It's his most played hero in professional Dota with almost 70 games, 60% win rate. I want to say, pub games, let me tell you, he's played over 2,000 Invoker games. His next highest, Queen of Pain, 650. So this guy's, I'm about to say, as soon as I see this Invoker, I was like, oh, I remember this hero. This is all he picked when we played him in pubs. This guy is an Invoker specialist.
And coming into it, we've seen a lot of different regions in particular, especially Southeast Asia. We saw Execration, Yolway, they were getting a lot of the Invoker. I know through our first kind of run of the qualifiers, Eastern Europe, they were playing the Invoker a decent amount. So I was actually intrigued on how LBZS wanted to identify D-Stones, because I think Lesh and Invoker are the top 2 heroes that he plays, and they're really strong at the moment. So the fact that they let it through, this is a really comfort draft for RNG. If they can't win with it, it's going to give a lot of confidence to Radiant.
I was going to say that, obviously it's quite known that RNG want that Invoker. It's comfort for them. So do you think then that means that LBZS planned to give it to them? Like if you let it through that far, surely you know that they're going to pick it. And if so, then what do you think their last pick is going to be? Because that's going to be a really big focus for them, that Invoker, shutting it down.
Yeah, I think you're totally right, because they were very quick to pick the Lina when they saw the Invoker. So we saw last game the Lina mid matchup against Invoker. At least there's a slight edge going Lina's way. It's maybe 60-40 favored towards Lina. So I think that gives them enough of an answer. And then they're going to get probably just some traditional offlaner to go with to round out their draft. Something just kind of be a tanky frontliner, some kind of jump initiation hero.
Surely that Tide then, right? If you're thinking about a jump initiation tank, potentially.
Yeah. If this was SEA, or if this was Fnatic, they would have picked Tide like second phase. But yeah, Tide looks really good here. I think that maybe you're a little worried playing Tide into Doom, because it gives a really obvious Doom target where you just Doom Tide and there's no Ravage. You don't get any value out of the Kraken Shell, which purges off stuns typically. So that may deter them.
Are there any like melee offlaners that you feel stand out with the Tusk? Because a lot of time I actually prefer like an offlane that's ranged to play with Tusk. Yeah.
They're gonna go Mars. Yeah, I know, I totally agree. The one that often is picked, or at least in the past, was the Nature's Prophet with Tusk, because you'd get like the tag team plus right clicks from the Nature's Prophet, and the Treants help the Tusk a lot. But Mars to me is just standard team fighting offlaner. It's like I don't think it's picked for any special reason this game. It gives them some more lockdown control, more team fight. It's just a well-rounded, decent hero. We kind of saw last game, even though they lost, Mars as a hero, you kind of just see what it does. It's always going to bring you that team fight, that jump, that instant kill potential on any hero that you go on top of.
It is also a little bit of a comfort pick for them too, right? They pull out the Mars a few times, one of their more favored heroes. But RNG-wise, the last hero that they're going to be picking up is the Spectre. Aries, do you think it's a little too greedy, or do you think it's the perfect pick to top off their draft?
I think if you can get away with the Spectre, then the supports on LBZS are going to have a bit of a difficult time. Tusk might be okay actually with Snowball, but more importantly, the Lina and the Grimstroke. it gives you a way to be able to catch the Lina on the backline. And we've seen time and time again, this is a hero that can just chuck out damage at such a rapid succession with this kind of right-click build. So bit curious on the lane because it is a Brewmaster 5. I definitely think LBZS have a massive advantage with their laning stage.
All right, and knowing that laning phase, it might be going in favor of LBZS, but late game potentially going in favor of RNG. Which draft are you going to lean towards, Aries?
I'm actually going to go Radiant. I feel like their laning stage might be enough to take over this game, and RNG are pretty cooldown reliant. I think D-Stones has to make a lot of plays early on, and we'll see if GoDz can get that space.
GoDz, same question.
I think RNG have the answers. I think Invoker is a good hero to stall things out, and with it, I think the Spectre pick was really good for them. I'm a little concerned about the laning stage with this support brew, but I'm at least for game one, where I feel like coming in RNG are at least fairly strong favorites. I'm going to side with them.
Look, I'm going to pick RNG too for absolutely no reason. Definitely not because they're in my compendium at all. But guys, take it away for game number 1 of our second series today.
Thank you, Nat. I mean, Parker, this is going to be an exciting matchup, honestly, coming into it. You know, LBZS against RNG. On paper, a lot of people might be a little bit more familiar with the lineup on Dire, but I feel like Radiant are a team that could, you know, make some issues against some of these other Chinese teams in the qualifiers. How do you feel overall, though? You know, I know you were siding on RNG. Is there a bit of a window that we could see Radiant have you know, kind of a strong suit in this game one?
Yeah, for sure this early to mid game can get pretty scary. The support brew you kind of touched upon, it doesn't offer a lot in the laning stage. It's definitely a bit of a liability. And then on the LBZS side, you've got very strong laners. Heroes like Tusk, Tag Team, the Grimstroke, and the combos you can get from that. It does feel like we could see this Radiant draft really get off to a good start and snowball from there. And then you just play this 4v5 Dota while your Wraith King farms up a couple of items, get Roche, similar to what we saw last game from Wraith King, and you just snowball out of control.
Yeah, I definitely think, I feel like it all comes down to this laning stage. Like you have the capabilities to really shine, and then you have a lot of this early to mid game damage as well, where it feels like Dire, it's going to come through very heavily on their level 6s. You know, the Lion, if you can get that ultimate at a pretty good timing with the Finger of Death, the Brewmaster as well on a 5, if you can get that kind of Earth split, the Primal split, and, you know, we could see the RNG supports have a little bit more involvement in this game compared to LBZS. But as our lanes are beginning to commence, like you said, we did already see that Invoker versus the Lina in our previous game, so it just kind of feels like it's a slightly Lina favored.
Lina just pushes out the lane better, utilizes the bottle. But there's some plays Invoker can make. We see like early on Cold Snap Harass coming out to secure some pre-hits, and I think D-Stones will do much better. To me, I think he's going to do better than what Somnus did in the matchup, which is kind of crazy to say. You know, we're talking about Somnus here, but I think this D-Stones, his strength is generally his laning stage, his mechanics. I think his mid to late game decision making is kind of his weak area, and he's just played. This guy is like the pub spammer. That's why he has 2,000. It's not just 2,000 games. Having 600 pub games is a lot. This guy plays pubs 24/7 nonstop.
Eyes on top as well, as you know, we get to see a very, very interesting position 5 here for Red Panda, which is kind of the new acquisition here for RNG. Red Panda, of course, was playing for Elephant throughout the DPC, but you know, he's got a lot of familiarity with this team to keep in mind. You know, RNG, a lot of their plays previously were actually on Sparking Arrow, where they won multiple tournaments there, like the Beyond Epic was one in particular. So they definitely have that connection, but it's just like you were saying, you know, if you can get out of the laning stage.
Yeah, this is definitely a team I think that has realistic TI hopes. You know, Nat picking them for her compendium is not crazy talk. They're one of the dark horses that could upset the Elephant hopes of making it to a TI.
How do we feel like this bottom lane is going to fare, though? Like a Wraith King, Grimstroke, very, very strong lane as we're going to see.
Yeah.
The level 2s that are able to come out, they're getting aggressive on flyby, and Felix has already used the Earth Spy, so won't have this in the arsenal, hold back LBZS, but see the Doomor is already taking heavy, heavy hits.
It's looking good. And QIQX, a bit of a Grimstroke specialist. It's his like most played hero recently, so this is a hero they fully know how to utilize, and showing it here, picking that melee core that can just get on top of people with the Ink Swell and take advantage. Set up the Stroke of Fate, that's the other big thing. Can't easily land the Stroke of Fate. Sometimes your lane can be a little tricky.
I mean, at the last hit shot, Radiant, they're sitting really comfortably with all their cores, but is this where we're going to have to see maybe some pull shenanigans come through in some of the more difficult lanes?
I'm not sure. They don't really have any, at least on the RNG side, they can't go for stacks. So yeah, maybe they're just going to keep trying to pull this top wave back under the Spectre's tower as much as possible. Until they get a couple levels, or maybe on the Brewmaster, they don't really have the best answers to fight into this dual lane. Just about stalling these lanes out, and then eventually we see those rotations. But yeah, all three cores are fairly greedy. They picked a Spectre with a Doom Invoker, so D-Stone's just going to have to play very team-oriented.
And Panda, this might be our first blood, Irving. Doesn't have enough mana for the spear, but that Orb of Venom slow selved up, and Red Panda is actually going to make it back underneath the tower, so that gives pretty much a full wave free for God King under that tier 1, so I guess space in a way?
Yeah, I'm surprised he lived. Just managed to barely get away, and he's going to stack the small camp as well before going back to base. I believe his 4-minute runes come up. Invoker wanted a water rune, and this could be bad for D-Stones.
Yeah, D-Stones. Nice tornado, Catyu. Unable to close the distance there, unfortunately. It was a nice sidestep getting away from the shard block, and this is what we're going to see, though, early on. You know, the Lion and the Tusk, both these heroes are pretty strong at being able to make these rotations to help out for the power rune control, and even we could potentially see something like a Grimstroke getting active, and I guess this is another weakness that they have, like a Brewmaster. Yes, you're 355 movement speed now because you went boots first, but you're not going to be able to get as much impact as some of the Radiant supports.
Yeah. Once the Mars gets this bottle to the top lane, it feels like this lane gets really tricky when they've got that sustain to play around. God King is going to just constantly be getting harassed and zoned back. We're seeing it here. He's just getting right-clicked down by an Orb of Venom.
All they need is that bottle, like you're saying, just any little bit of extra mana. But I do like the itemization that God King's going for. You know, we kind of see this more Echo Saber orientated Spectre build, but when you've got a really rough lane, like that maxed out dispersion with the Blade Mail, all you want to do is just make sure you can get back into the jungle, because that's where you're going to be able to get, you know, maximize your farming speed, where you're not contested in.
Yeah, the more I see that Blade Mail build, I'm much bigger fan of this. As a rotation mid though comes. Some poking harass. I mean, this is how the Invoker plays his mid lane. It's very anti-fun. He's just going to constantly burn the Lena's mana whenever possible. Like, Lena's going to bottle up, get raindrops, get some clarities, but if she shows herself mid lane, Invoker's trying to land a Tornado EMP, and as soon as you hit one EMP, there's no mana for a Laguna Blade, they can't actually kill you.
Oh, God King, oh my God, not again! We still haven't seen First Blood 6 minutes in, but you just see that they're really trying to put the works on.
Not for lack of trying on both sides. Lena doesn't get the rune she was hoping for and could be in a little bit of trouble mid.
Don't have earn charges, of course, but this would be a great time to pick it up. Split away from the LSA, and there we go. First Blood picked up for D-Stones and the earn charges as well. So this is going to make it a lot easier here for the Invoker to get active across the map.
Yeah, getting those first earn charges always feels so nice. Now he knows if he TPs to a side lane for a counterplay or even to set up something, he's already got the easy procs on the cold snap, so great start for RNG. And they've just been playing these rune fights so well. We saw it with the water runes where Lion was rotating over. This is the even bigger one, the 6-minute power rune. And Lion able to catch Lena, playing a bit too greedy. If Lena wants to go for that rune, Lena needs supports of her own to back her up.
Lena chucks out the Laguna Blade. Red Panda, relatively tanky at the moment, will still fall, and a great hold from Radiant. We're looking to get aggressive with that catapult. They will trade kill for kill, but it's a double support falling. Is even wishing he's looking to get active here. Meanwhile, top, it does leave God King solo, but again, the Spectre too difficult to be able to bring down. But I love the emphasis we see. RNG, the movement from both their supports after that kill. Just high-level teams are able to utilize that catapult timing to perfection.
Yeah, that rotation has become so common, but some teams are just way better at it than others. It is a bit of a problem. This top lane, it still feels like.
Brewmaster, I think GoDz's just gonna get out. Is about to see the extra rotations from X with long last right click. We got a little bit of mana as well to still use to chase down GoDz. LSA's on the mark, and the extra control will fly once Irving can get that spear to the northern tree line, as GoDz finally will fall. Now it does free up mid, but Radiant, they can just glyph to protect it. And you take a look at the comparison of the position ones. Wishing having an incredible time on that Wraith King, 1 kill, 53 last hits, compared to our GoDz Spectre. But RNG, they're still thinking about evening up the numbers up top here as QIQX. That sounds early on, but yeah, he's got no backup this time. So this is what's going to be really, really important for RNG. This Invoker line rotations, they've got to get a lot out of that.
Yeah, this Invoker cannot afford to be taking lanes or hitting creeps. You gotta give a lane to a support to get level 6, like we're seeing with the mid Brewmaster, but at this point, Invoker's meant to be the... I mean, right now this is the early game, so Invoker's not doing anything wrong, but like at 20 minutes, you want Invoker to be your least farm core. You want your Doom and Spectre to have the farm. There's just not enough farm to go around all 3 heroes, so what we're gonna see is just constant activity from D-Stones, hopefully. He's already smoking up, making a move down bottom. And they need to create space for GoDz, who's still trying to play this top lane. This is really tricky for GoDz, I feel like. There's so much kill threat with the Mars Arena, and now they've even swung the Wraith King up here.
Yeah, I just took a quick look as well, and it doesn't seem like there's any stacks for GoDz to be able to get at the moment. Gonna go on up top.
Potential haunt, or... Fine.
There's raindrops and one coming to play. You see the itemization. It's very early game stat orientated, recognizing he's going to have a lot of pressure, so kind of needs to make sure he's able to keep himself afloat. But now you've pushed Spectre back to the jungle pre-Blade Mail, and this should be a free tower.
Yep. Yeah, really good job to make Spectre have a rough game. Although that Blade Mail should come out in not too long. And I think the good news is these other 2 lanes going incredibly well. Doom.
Flyby. He's gonna chuck out the Doom here. Yeah. They do have the Haunt extra +1 here for GoDz, but he's in trouble. He just joined them down bot, so Irving can drop the arena. Another round of the LSA. The damage that X is dishing out with anyone trying to pressure the Lina forces GoDz to lose all that health pool, but RNG, they've still got the numbers. Even Felix is going to look to get involved. Lina burnt out of the mana, burnt out of the health as well, and Irving still stick around because he did TP down, so he's stuck in the tree line. And I mean, RNG, even though they lose the Spectre, the emphasis comes through from the reinforcements.
Yeah. RNG just recognizing the TP advantage. Wraith King was showing on map top, which, you know, usually would be okay if he had a TP up, but he TP'd to the lane and hasn't brought himself a new one yet. So I don't think there's any way RNG can lose that fight without the Wraith King showing up to get involved. And RNG, you know, they may lose their Spectre, but guess what? The Spectre is their weakest core right now. So they don't really lose a whole lot of firepower, and it almost felt like LBZS just got greedy. They're like, okay, we kill Spectre. This is great. This is worth it. But then Doom and Invoker, who are both incredibly strong and scary right now, just clean up. This Doom isn't that greedy Midas Doom. He's ready to fight.
He's so farmed as well. Top of the net worth, 6,500 at the moment here for Flyby. He's actually about to have a BKB already. This could be devastating for a lot of the magical damage that Radiant will have through the early game. But to jump in, Felix will get brought down, but this time Red Panda will have the primal split in the arsenal. So chase forward for more. Catyu, he should be the sacrificial lamb. I say that though, Irving's still going to swick around, dropping the arena. Now holding back these stones, they still don't have the reinforcements, as this time it's RNG with the numbers disadvantage, as they'll be able to get the kill on the Invoker, slowing down his tempo this game.
Yeah, already, I feel like a very different story to last series in the sense. Like, yeah, okay, RNG have a sizable gold lead right now, but like the plays we're seeing from LBZ is just, they're solid. Like Irving's Mars has looked really good with the rotations in place that he's making, always finding the right target. The previous fight just blowing up the Spectre. This time around recognizing the Invoker is the bigger problem, so manages to land the full combo on D-Stones, just making life as difficult as possible for the RNG backline.
Do you want to try and see RNG make a smoke movement with like maybe Lion and Invoker because they have Finger?
Yeah, I think if they need to find ideally the Lina with that Finger. The Wraith King's just not a target, or blow up some of these key supports. Like the Grimstroke's causing a lot of problems. If you can kill him before he casts spells, that would be huge.
I guess it's going to come down to the deep vision as well. Like you take a look at the map, Radiant, making sure at least that their bottom jungle and around the mid lane is very well protected, where Dire don't have information to be able to make these movements, top a lot of sentries as well. So they're just making sure that RNG aren't able to use these wards aggressively.
Yeah, RNG, we'll see. Now that the Spectre has Blade Mail, can just play that slower game, have Spectre just sitting in the Ancients and looking to just occasionally pop Haunt to join a team fight. The rest of the RNG side likely ready to fight though. BKB Doom.
Actually down bot they are. Arena and Cat sends up to the heavens. We see that so often with the task. You got high points tag team, Warriors Punch, and a hero with low armor. You can just do so much work. But I do want to ask, how do you feel about Red Panda's Veil this game? So we're seeing the Brew go for a little bit of spell damage amp.
First thoughts, I would say not a big fan of this. I guess they have okay magic damage. A bit of a fight breaking out here mid though. Cat you may get chased down.
Almost falling to the Cinder Brew. Now it's going to be the Scorched Earth. So much damage with these two combined. That Veil drops Cinder Brew and even with Flyby nearby. And this is a big spike for them because they still have this BKB in 9 seconds. You've got the ultimates back up here for Red Panda. So they're looking to get active and take this tier 1. They also know, like the Spectre, that the Wraith King isn't really looking to get active. He does have the Armlet and queuing the Deso, so he's going to be a little bit more active than the Spectre, but it's not his big timing.
And it's very tough to play into double mana drain. Both the Lion and the Invoker make it really hard for him to choose his fight.
Stones. Nice tornado on 2. And now Red Panda as well. They should be able to follow up. The supports at the target at the moment. They're going to have to roll into the backline as we'll see the Tuskar lose his life. And now Red Panda can just solo down QYQX. It's a nice use of the ultimates from RNG. They're still looking to put some pressure onto More. As Wishing. He's got the cores on the backline, RNG. They have to be careful knowing that these ultimates are on cooldown. But meanwhile, you take a look. It's just all space. Spectre, 4th in net worth. They're doing so much to allow him to catch up. Is Red Panda still?
Over this high ground clear. Lina needs to be careful.
Oh no, Flyby, nice jump. Instantly Doom, Finger of Death, goodbye. Evaporated from the fight. Like you were saying, just that high ground ward, the emphasis they were trying to put on the control around the triangle, and even God King looking to get involved.
Yeah, they threw everything. That Doom lasted about half a second before Lina was dead. I don't mind. I think it perhaps a bit overkill, but they just know, hey, this Lina, that's one of the biggest targets we can kill. And Lina just playing a bit far forward. We've seen, I think, a bit by a few of these heroes, like Lion dying a couple times.
This
mid
cool
lane
move.
and bottom lane just out of position.
Mid lane, D-Stones. Speed just gets a connection. I know the ultimates are on cooldown. It's a little bit greedy for D-Stones showing mid. Lion should be okay, but that's a very fast-paced move from Radiant with the catapult wave as well. So they actually might be able to get this tier 1.
Yeah, I don't imagine his team will like that because they were all showing top. They're like, okay, we won this fight. Let's take the top tier 1 tower. D-Stones shouldn't have been there. If he's going to throw spells to try and defend this tier 1 mid, do so from complete safety. But he was just, playing too far forward, showing in the lane, and gets picked off.
And you see, I mean, he's also going for this Midas route here for D-Stone, so looking to try and scale a little bit more into that late game, of course, after the Spirit Vessel that is completed. 2 deaths at the moment, so it's definitely slowed down that net worth, but as you were saying, it's kind of to be expected. This Quaswex Invoker takes a little bit more of a backseat compared to the other cores.
And that's, this is the kind of net worth distribution you want around that 17 to 20 minute mark. Keeping up with Doom just not possible as RNG looking to utilize the Doom strength to find some more kills. Catch you. Making a nice eye shots block, but there's just no escaping for him.
Couple supports falling across the map. Who do we feel like this game is favoring the moment? Because it does look like both Wraith King and Spectre are getting a lot of farm out of the map. So is there one hero we're going to be a little bit worried about hitting a spike before the other?
I definitely feel much more confident around the Spectre's late game. Wraith King, as mentioned, going to have a tough time playing into the mana drain. It's going to force him into a BKB, potentially an Ag Shard, and even just playing with no mana, even if you've got the Shard, doesn't feel good if you can't throw out your stun. Spectre just feels like a great answer to get on top of this Lina backline, to get on top of the Grimstroke. There's just nothing to really ever threat to kill the Spectre once she gets farmed, so definitely liking what RNG have going for them right now.
Sunstrike? I don't think that's enough here. How many points in Exort does he actually have? Meanwhile, mid lane? It's just going to be another pick-off here. Lion just trying to do support things. Whenever that tier 1 tower is down mid, often we see a support kind of fill that lane, shove it out, get a little bit of experience, but it's more importantly just a way to be able to block any smoke ganks. Now, this DD, though, this could be Roshan. They did just get Desolator. They have tagged him as well maxed out. So this is actually a big opportunity here for LBZS.
Yeah, I'm not sure if RNG expect this one. They don't have the best ways to scout the pit, other than the scan. Okay, that's obviously one of the best ways, but they may be here too late, and LBZS already positioning, playing outside the pit. The Sunstrike's going to come, it's too late, and they maybe found... Oh, he got the
ultimate off. GoKing's going to try and snatch it, but he won't be successful. They're targeting down the Grimstroke. He's still able to get the ultimate off, but looks like the Radiant lineup just looking to retreat away. They're happy with getting the Aegis. It does cost them 2. Wishing? No, he's staying there to farm the Ancients. Wishing, what are you doing? He doesn't have the Aegis as well. At least he can play around with the Reincarnation, but the buyback's going to come through for the Grimstroke. They need to try and protect him on this second life, but the Doom's still available from Flyby. Great BKB with the Lunar Blade. They're not going to be able to bring him down as Lina standing at ground, trying to right-click. GoKing stuck on the high ground, but they've dealt the damage. As without the Wraith King and the Luna not being able to utilize the abilities, beautiful Tornado clipping onto 2. They got the Earth Strike into the sun. They'll be able to catch up the Lina. That is Aegis now down, but look at the commitment. LBZS, multiple buybacks coming through to try and hold the Aegis fight.
Yeah, disaster for LBZS as they just get completely split up at the Roshan. The idea is kind of okay from them, where they have the Mars playing forward to scout out the rotation from RNG, but the problem is they were in this like 2v5 fight. The only way that that fight goes well for them is if they blow up Red Panda, but he got his Primal Split off. Great play from him to just instantly use it. As this time around he won't be so fortunate. Doesn't have the ultimate, he'll get picked off, but the big fight has already been won by RNG, and it all comes down to this Brew split. It feels like they have to jump Brew and kill him before he ulties.
Yeah, and is this where Brew maybe even goes for like an Aeon Disc as that second item? I mean, he's got the VIP booster at the moment, so do you feel like this is what he's looking for?
Yeah, Aeon Disc makes a lot of sense to me. I think that's your only job, is to make sure you get ulti off, and he's got plenty of money coming in with the Philosopher's Stone, so I'd like to see an Aeon Disc on him. You know, the Ags is always nice, but you're a 5, you know, he's a 5 position. He's getting a lot of farm with this Philosopher's Stone, so I don't actually think he's going to have too many problems getting items this game. And yeah, with the Arcane boost pickup, it looks like Aeon Disc is the call.
Just comes down to right now, like you said, if you're able to get that catch on an important target, what do we feel like is the important one for RNG to try and bring down? Who are they prioritizing on the side of Radiant?
We've definitely seen in the fights Lina is like, if we can get the Doom on Lina, let's do it. But I like the way Lina's itemizing, not going for any kind of spellcaster build, just looking to sit back and do as much right-click damage as possible during this BKB, almost expecting to be doomed, as we've seen a few times in these fights. So I would say the biggest target is like any of the team fight specialists. Like the Grimstroke is great, the Mars is good if you can kill him before he uses his spells. Ideal scenario is you kill someone who still has their spells up. You don't want to, you know, throw too much at a Mars who's already hit an arena plus spear. But the Lina and Grimstroke are probably the 2 highest damage, most impactful supports in these team fights.
We'll see RNG with this smoke, if they're going to be able to find these impactful heroes. Trying to angle towards this bottom side, as they do have this lane getting shoved out from GoKing, who has finished this Manta style pretty recently, and a great Observe Ward in the back line too. So very, very power position for RNG to take the fight. Meanwhile, we also see Radiant. They're looking for their own smoke maneuver here, but who's going to run into who? Flyby, smoke pop. They've got a great observer ward as well. The instant BKB now with the Horn going to be able to provide the vision. QIQX is able to get at least the Soulbind off before he dies, but more importantly, the Doom. It's on top of the Lina. She's going to try and stand her ground and manfight. You see the right clicks are coming through. Lina's doing so much damage, and then Finger of Death to bring her down. RNG can prioritize now the cause as they'll cancel the life of the Wraith King. Irving will fall, an ultra kill for God King, and make it a team wipe.
Wow, it just got ran over that fight. Their team fight is just too strong. You have a Primal Split coming out of your 5 position. You have a Blink Earth Spike stunning multiple heroes from your Lion. BKB Doom with a Shiva's Guard. The Haunt enabling all of this because it gives vision, and it just feels like the Mars doesn't get his arena off until the fight's already lost by the time that arena spear comes out, which isn't to fault him. It was just, it's RNG just win this fight too quickly, instantly. The Wraith King desperately needs a BKB to go with the Linas, and even then I feel like it's too defensive. Like, they need these triple BKBs now to win that fight. By the time they get them, they're going to be too far behind.
Yeah, you're already losing way too much map control. It's going to be... They exit back off of the tier 2, so I thought they would have been able to take that, but when you have this very heavy reliance on team fight, usually this is where the other team can recognize the cooldowns and look to punish, but Radiant, they haven't really done that so far this game, and it just means that Dire, they're able to take fights on their accordance.
Oh, for sure. That's last time we saw the ultras on cooldown, they smoked out and they killed the Brew, but it was that's just a support kill, and they don't get any towers out of it. They haven't really been able to capitalize. They don't have perhaps that really fast-paced, active hero that plays well around those long cooldowns. Like, they don't have long like Mars Arena is pretty low cooldown, but it just feels like their draft is not punishing the long cooldowns as you mentioned. RNG just playing extra safe, farming the deep on their side of the map anytime they're worried about having their cooldowns.
Yeah, and this has to be incredibly worrying heading into that late game, because again, D-Stones, Midas, the fact that Red Panda is so incredibly farmed from your position 5 Brew, which you are getting so much out of him in these fights. They're going to try and jump in mid, but Red Panda, again, that Observe Water, it paid off dividends through that last fight, and is also at least going to be able to keep his life there. But if Red Panda gets his Aghanims, that is really worrisome with how much farm he's getting right now.
Down bottom. Tier 2 tower's already been lost, though, just to the Sword Spirit and Invoker.
Positioning.
He's got the aim.
He just pops the smoke. One on the backline. They need a target down the Grimstroke. God King's going to try and do that at the moment, but the arena is protecting QY. So they'll deal with these stones. Not having the Invoker for the fight could be a lot of the control here from RNG, but they're still looking to stick around. God King getting pummeled on the backline as Lina finally dealt with the Cyclone, but it cost the 2 cores from RNG, and they're going to look to reset. They won't. Flyby, jump in, BKB along with the Doom. They'll deal with the second life of the Wraith King. They haven't prioritized the Lina at the moment, so X is going to work on the high ground, but finally, after you deal with the rest of the heroes, you can turn back and take care of the Lina.
Yeah, not a bad fight. The Lina doing a whole lot of damage. Like, in some ways, it looked promising at times. Particularly, the damage output from Lina as well as Wraith King, but just feels like RNG have too much farm across the board. Even losing the Spectre there to the Lina combo, they still have this Doom just wreaking havoc in the front lines. He's the top net worth hero, and level 18 now. Every Infernal Blade is hitting hard. Support Lion is just finding multiple impales and getting to throw off second, third round of spells in the fight, and it just feels like there's too many targets to deal with, whereas on the RNG side, like, it's so easy. Like, they just instantly kill. Spectre haunts and Grimstroke dies every single time. He doesn't have that defensive item until now. He finally finishes a Glimmer Cape, but this Grimstroke cannot afford to just die at the start of every fight. They need his spells.
What's the Mars doing here? I'm not sure. He was trying to hide in a little nook there, but he's down for 70.
Yep. That's problematic. Roche is respawning in 20 seconds as well, so if RNG scout that one out, that's a freebie.
They've got a catapult wave too if they want to hit this tier 2 tower. It is a little bit more difficult mid without. In fact,
being caught bottom.
Yeah, let's just get another pick off. Why not? Cat U. Solid from Flyby. This Doom so much havoc this game. He's going Refresher Orb already. He's almost got it completed. He does now. He's got enough gold for that. He's so incredibly farmed.
Yeah. Hell of a game from him. 10, 1, and 11. This Doom is putting in work. It's the Doom DPS talent now to go with it.
Can we see, like, what's the play here from Radiant? Did they just have to split push out the map? Because it feels like they can't 5v5.
Yeah, any 5v5 fight where Haunt comes in, gets the backline is going to look ugly, and it's only going to get worse with a Skadi on Spectre. It just means heroes like Lina can't run away as easily, the Grimstroke's in trouble. I think your best bet is, I mean, you see a Doom Refresher, you don't teamfight into it. The only possible way you can teamfight into it is if you kill Doom through a chain stun and don't let him get off his ultimate. That's all I can see for them, which, you know, is not impossible. They got the Mars Blink Arena, but they've got to catch him before he BKBs.
This is a valuable pick-off. God King? Oh, he's so close to the smoke target. No. They just kept going. They may have found him, and they're going to go for the long wraparound here as Dire. They've, again, another powerful position.
But the Aeon disc, they have to find a better target.
Smoke might pop.
Flyby's the best target, but he's positioned too well.
Oh, what a position. Instantly, Smoke pops. They chuck up the Doom as well with the BKB. Wishing. They're trying to prioritize Red Panda at the moment, but he's fine. Aeotis gets the connection, and Radiant, they just can't team fight right now. RNG are on another level in this game one. X, he's got to use the BKB defensively to run away from the Brewlings, but in fact, they'll just try and chuck up Wishing instead.
Be careful. Towers do a lot of damage to that Brewling. Alright, he'll be fine. But yeah, that's just the one Doom being used. They just win these teamfights so quickly and decisively. The damage output coming from the Invoker with the Max Exhort now. And every teamfight just is looking worse and worse. It's not like there is any glimmer of hope. It feels like as RNG, you know, now they have the Refresher, now they have the Skadi, now they have Aegis plus an Ag Shard and G. So every fight is getting worse and worse for them.
It's a pretty fast-paced play from them too with this smoke, but Radiant, they're not going to get caught out from it. Taking a look at their lineup though, like they don't have the greatest way to find pickoffs across the map, which could bring them back into this game, or even just split pushing. Oh, X sticking around. BKB still on cooldown. He's got some heroes in the backline, but there's the Doom gonna fly out from Flyby, instantly targeting X. A Snowball a little bit too late. They secure with a kill. I mean, you can't get rid of the Doom. He's got 2,500 health. Cheese as well. Targeting Flyby is not going to secure you this team fight. They'll deal with the line. There's a little bit of the control, but still, I mean, Flyby, he's just sticking his ground. It allows D-Stones to go apart of the backline. Alacrity Cold Snap deals with Wishing. He's going to lose his second life as well.
He got the Wraith King with the level death. The Axe Shard on Doom. The old school Dota 1 spell. Well, not exactly, but some remnants of it. He's the multiple of 3. No one else on the other team was, unfortunately. But Wraith King caught in level 18, getting that extra bit of stun.
Look at the siege coming through. That's a catapult with Alacrity.
This is looking mighty rough. I mean, 25k gold lead, they're breaking high ground. Completely different story to what we saw in the Southeast Asian qualifiers. These teams not so even, and as soon as one team pulls ahead, they put their foot to the gas and just don't look back.
They're not even going to stick around for the full set, giving a little bit of respect over to the side of Radiant. I mean, they know the ultimates are on cooldown. It's mainly just the Doom. He's got that Refresher backup, almost overwhelming Blink as well for Flyby. I mean, this might be getting to the territory where it's a desperation smoke here for LBZS.
Yeah, that's just going to give him even more survivability. Plus the utility of the AoE damage.
They're running up the high ground blind. Once again, Grimstroke just bursts it down. I mean, the Snowball's only going to delay the inevitable. The rest of RNG connecting to the team fight. Cat U's going to get targeted. They've got a couple buybacks. Maybe this is how they can turn a fight. But saying that, Dire just looking way too strong at the moment. With the BKB expiring, they'll run up to the northern side, deal with the Mars, and now inside the base, the Lina will fall as well. These two cores without a buyback in RNG. put their stamp on this game one, and that should be all she wrote. LBZS, nothing they can do, and they're gonna get sent to the grave from a team wipe. Red Panda will get the triple.
Lion just bouncing by the fountain. A dominant game one. This was not close really at all, it felt like at any point. Doom just absolutely demolishing this game. 13, 1, and 20. The Spectre had a rough lane stage, bounced it back, got the farm needed. I mean, everyone just kind of did their job. I think occasionally we saw the Lion a little bit out of position on Felix Schaubar, but it's just absolutely dominant. Like this was just a stomp. It was very convincing from RNG, which is a good sign because of how good Elephant looked. So it means, you know, it's perhaps not going to be just smooth sailing. Obviously, this is best of 3. We're going to be to have ourselves, but you know, RNG looking absolutely dominant.
That they are. I mean, just was a little bit worried about the landing stage. Like maybe this is where LBZS could have that advantage and then storm into a really strong early game, but RNG, they got a lot out of it than what I was expecting. They couldn't punish the Spectre in the jungle, and all in all, it was just a beautiful game one, like you said, kind of stomping this. And well, Nat, I guess her predictions early on, but was favoring RNG through the whole run, and with a game like that to kick it off, looking beautiful for them. So we're going to send this to a break. We'll come back with the panel to break it down.